What's going on, YouTube? I'm gonna try and make this as brief as I can, even though I got quite a bit to update you guys about. But moral of the story, I'm back. I'm back fishing. It's been a long couple past months, but we're here. We've made it. Just recently, I got the majority of my restrictions lifted, so I can do just about everything I want now, barring, weightlifting or anything like that, or seriously heavy lifting. Now, that might still be a problem when it comes to heavy catfish, but I've kind of developed some ways I think I can get around that. But I won't get too deep into the injury, but I will update you a bit on what I went through. So I had a flexor tendon injury. I cut the tendons in all four of my fingers and then in my wrist as well. And then I cut off the ulnar artery and I cut off my ulnar nerve. So I know a lot more about the hand now than I did going into this. So it's been interesting, but yes, that is the extent of what I did. Here's kind of what it looks like. Pretty gross, but it's come a long way from what it did. It looks a hell of a lot better. It's finally closed up. It bled for probably 3 months straight, and then it just recently closed up finally for good. I mean, probably within the last 2 weeks. But as of the making of this video, I'm about, I would say, a little over 3 months into the recovery, and my progress has just been incredible. If you're watching this video though, and you watched the one prior to this, that video was actually made about a month ago. Probably shouldn't have been fishing, but I was pretty careful. I know my restrictions at this point, but anyways, that's all behind me though, and I'm still good to go. Haven't ruptured anything, and I'm well on the path to recovery. So, but yes, life is different. I was in a splint for about a month and a half, that was strictly one-handed. I couldn't use this left hand for anything. Once that moved on, I was able to get out of it, but I had a lot of restrictions, and I didn't really want to take a whole lot of risks, so I didn't really do a whole lot until I finally got comfortable with doing light stuff. But now I'm kind of using it for quite a bit now. Like I said, my progress has been incredible. I can do most things like open doors and carry small items with it. So it's come a long way. When I first started out, I could barely even wiggle my thumb like this, but now I'm opening and closing my hand, and I can count to 2, 3 is a little tough, and I can get 4. But so yeah, a lot of my tendon injury though has been since recovered from, and I'm kind of moving on from that, and now it's kind of into the nerve damage phase of this injury, and that's obviously going to take quite a bit more. So I still don't have feeling in this side of my hand, basically from the ring finger and on. I don't have any feeling there still. Another thing guys have been asking me about too is what is on my hand here. This is a splint in itself too. It's not as big as the old one I was in, but what this does is it essentially bars my back, the back of my outermost fingers there. So I feel pretty normal in this thing. The reason I have to wear it is so I'll show you. I gotta put the camera down for a second. If I take this off, these outermost fingers are kind of stuck. Kind of curled over like that, so I cannot straighten them on their own unless I bar exactly where that thing is, and that allows me to straighten my whole hand. But otherwise, I'm kind of stuck like this. So it's nice because I can at least feel pretty normal when I wear that. But otherwise, on my own, it's still got a long way to go as far as fixing that. Doctors do believe it will come back, but it's interesting. I'm getting used to it, like the trying to pick things up and all that's fine, but like fine motor skills and tying fishing knots is a pain in the ass. It is so hard. But the only bad thing I think that came of this is I was a pretty avid guitar player, and that involved my left hand because I was strum with the right, play with the left. So that's probably the worst thing that came out of this is I don't know if I'll ever be able to return to that because of that fine motor movement that's required out of your hand, to move along the fretboard there. But, if that's the worst thing that had to come from this, it stings because I loved it, but, it's going to be all right. But the good news is I can still fish, and that's, just as big of a component of my life. I have a different approach that I'm going to be taking this year, and that is why I had to buy a bunch of these guys. So for whatever reason, when it comes to spinning reels, I like to reel with my left hand, and versus with bait casters, I reel with my right hand. I don't know why, but I figured this was coming, and so I outfitted myself with some bunch of heavy-duty spinning reels, and I even put braided line on there, so I'm way out of my realm of experience. I've always hated spinning reels for big game, so much so that I've never even tried them. So I love spinning reels for smaller stuff. I like for bass fishing, that's my go-to. But when it came to catfishing, it was always bait casters. So I've had a lot to learn as far as how to use these for catfishing. But I've definitely put some fish in the boat, and this is about a month past the release of the first video you guys are going to see. So I can already attest to, yes, that I have been able to put big fish in the boat with these reels. It's just been a kind of a bit of a learning curve for me, but I like them. They're just different. And but if you had told me a year ago that I'd be fishing with spinning reels and braid in 2024, I'd have thought you were crazy. But that's where we are now, and I'll take it compared to where I was. It's a big step, so I'm happy to do it. So I outfitted myself with like 4 of these. I got 4 of these, and just recently I had an incident out fishing the river, and it had been really flooded, and I T-boned this piece of timber, and I don't know how. Like, this was something that would only happen to me, but somehow my prop shot that log out of the water and jammed into one of my brand new reels. So it broke the rod and the reel. The inside of it, I opened it up because it wasn't reeling right. The internal gear just completely shattered. So it's completely toast. I looked up parts for it, and to get the replacement part was about half as much as the reel itself. So I was like, that's just kind of a bust. I'll figure out how I'm going to do that eventually, but for now, with the river as high as it is, I'll be all right with 3 rods. And then as far as lifting and weighing fish, that's going to be interesting too. I got a method that I think I came up with that I can ratchet a fish up in a sling with a tripod that will actually get it to where I don't have to, hold the fish up to weigh it to get a reading. It's quite a bit of extra work, but at least I'm not having to lift, for an extended period of time. I can lift things up. I just got to put it on my forearm rather than my hand. So I think I found a way around trying to actually lift up a big fish. That's going to take, I don't have a whole lot of experience with it yet because, got to put them in the boat first. But hopefully if the time comes, I can get around to it. But like I said, I have some ideas on how I can do that, but I don't think it should be a huge issue. But anyways, so yes, a lot of progress has been made, and I'm very happy to share this with you guys. There was a lot of different ways I was going to go about this video, but I just want to say, first of all, thank you to all the first responders that helped me through the initial incident here. They probably will never get to see this video, but if you're out there, thank you so much for everything you did, getting me back to doing what I can do today. And my family and friends, you guys know who you are. Thank you so much for helping me get through this pretty horrifying injury. But I'm coming out on the other side of it, and like I said, a lot of progress has been made. Can do a lot with this now. And also to those of you, if you ever experience an injury, the worst part is when it first happens, dealing with all that news. So my best advice I can give to you is just keep your head up. It will get better. So keep that in mind if you're going through something right now. But again, thanks as always for everybody that's been supporting me through over the years with my videos and everything. I hope to keep all that up this year. Your comments didn't go unnoticed, especially on my last video. You know, I had a lot of people reach out to me wishing me well, and I just wanted to come on here and say, you know, I really appreciate that. You know, I'm really excited to get back out there, and it's been pretty good fishing. It's been pretty spotty, but I've been able to put some good fish in the boat, and I can only imagine as it continues to heat up, it's going to get real good. So I'm hoping that this year will, you know, kind of go like last year did, because last year we really put them in the boat. So anyways, long story short, thank you guys so much for watching this and supporting me through all this. And we are going to be back out there like never before. And thank you as always. I'll see you on the water.